Welcome to those that are entering the webinar room. We will be getting started right at 7 o'clock, so feel free to make yourself comfortable, get cozy, and we will be starting in about 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Welcome to those that are entering the webinar room. We are going to get started here right at 7 o'clock, so we'll just give everyone another minute or so to get comfortable as they enter. Note that we find sometimes the best browser to be entering in is Chrome, but if you're working outside of Chrome, that's great too. If at any point you find you lose your signal, there is a refresh button for you to get that back. All right, hello and good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is comfortable and cozy from their couch or somewhere nice at home. I am here tonight to introduce our wonderful speakers. Some of you may know Lisa as she works in our Kelowna and West Kelowna store. Lisa, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic.
So I've loaded the presentation for you now. It's on the slide deck instead of the screen share.
Fantastic.
And there's the next button there at the bottom for you to move it along. But tonight, Lisa's going to go over how to best support stress and combat our current pandemic fatigue. 2020 has been a heck of a year, and we're nearing the end of it. So she's going to give about a 30-minute presentation, and then we'll have some time for question and answer at the end. If you'd rather remain anonymous with your questions, you can send them privately, and I'll be asking kind of the questions to Lisa and going over any common themes that we might see. But thank you all so much for tuning in and joining tonight. We are recording the presentation, so if you want to share it with others, or if there's team members that couldn't attend tonight, we will be sending out the replay link. And Lisa, I'll let you take it away from here.
Thanks so much, Haley. And I really appreciate all of you guys coming tonight. I miss being in the stores. There's so many names that are familiar to me, and I miss seeing you all. And I hope that you're comfy and cozy in your house right now with a nice cup of tea, because we're going to talk about ways to support your body through these stressful times. Because we're like 8 months into this pandemic and we're coming into the winter, and you guys are frontline workers. And I know you know that you're frontline workers, but I'm when Haley came to me and said, hey, we'd like to do some support for the staff, I was 100% in right away. So if there's anything that I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. If there's something that you want to talk about outside of this presentation, my email address is going to be on the last slide. So please don't hesitate to send me an email. I would love to help and support you any way I can, because you guys are just so important to all of us. So what we're going to be talking about today is the difference between acute stress and chronic stress and how it affects our body. We're going to look at 5 foods that can support your body on a stressful day, including, well, many delicious ones, but one in particularly delicious one. We're going to look at 3 stress support supplements and lifestyle tools to help your body recover. And this can actually even change your body's reaction in a stressful moment because sometimes we need to help kind of wire our body differently so it reacts to stress differently. For those of you who we haven't met, my name is Lisa Kilgour. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and I've been Nature's Fair's nutritionist since 2013. And I realized just before I came in to do this webinar that this is the longest time I've ever worked for a company before, and I'm so happy it's Nature's Fair. And so I'm one of the nutritionists that provides the free 30-minute consults, which are currently all online. So you can tell customers they can still get support from the nutrition team. I also have a brand new book on dieting, the Freedom from the Bewildering World of Fad Diets, that happened to come out during a pandemic. So, you know, touring is very difficult, but it is available. And I specialize in digestive issues, microbiome, adrenal fatigue and burnout, blood sugar imbalances, and then the concept of undieting. So today we're going to be talking about stress. And I want to start with acute stress because not all stress is equal. And there's a healing aspect to stress, and that's kind of what's missed a lot of the time. So to look at acute stress, I want you to think about some deer grazing in a field, and they're just happily munching away. They're totally relaxed and chilled out, and they're enjoying a nice meal. And then they notice a predator. It could be a coyote, it could be you walking up, and suddenly they perk up and they run. And they run their hearts out, and their blood pressure is pumping, and their blood sugar is getting higher to make sure they can run away from this predator. And their body is putting all of the nutrients possible into their muscles so they can run away from this predator. But if you were to find them a half an hour later or an hour later, you'd find them relaxed and munching on grass. And this is what acute stress is. It's something that comes and our body goes into this high alert state, and then it relaxes. And there's actually a lot of opportunities of acute stress in our world. I'm dealing with some acute stress right now doing this presentation. And this could be when you're pushing your limits, when you're trying something new, maybe when you're trying a new exercise routine or a hike that you've never done before. It could be something quite adrenaline filled like skydiving or paragliding. But these moments of acute stress are short-lived and healing. When we go through something like this, so right now there's some stress hormones pumping through my system right now, but after we're done and we end, I'm going to get this big dopamine rush of doing something that was out of my comfort zone, and then I'm going to go relax. This acute stress stimulation and relaxing is actually really good for your immune system. It's really good for your brain and helps with your mood as well. Like, we want these moments of acute stress to be in our life. The problem is chronic stress. Chronic stress is the draining, exhausting part of the stress reaction. And the reason is that we are staying in the state of stress for way too long. That all of those hormones that pump when the deer are running away from a predator are happening when we're under any kind of stress. And the problem is that it's not a predator. It's not a presentation. It is a worry. It is something that's happening all the time. And these are just a handful of the causes of chronic stress. But the key part of chronic stress is that we as animals are unique in our ability to feel chronic stress because we have this strong memory and we can think about these stressful actions. Being chased by a bear and remembering being chased by a bear triggers the same stress reaction. And when we're in that stress reaction, our body is trying to keep us alive. And so it's using every nutrient it possibly can. And this is where the draining part comes from. And what happens is our body is prepared for that physical stress where our blood pressure goes up, our blood sugar goes up, and our cholesterol goes up. Because if we were actually being chased by a bear or chased by a predator, we need that reaction to stay alive. We need higher blood pressure so our muscles have the nutrients to be able to run. We need higher blood sugar so we have the energy to run. And we need high cholesterol. So if we are injured on that run, our body can heal. These are the core chronic health issues of our world. And the sad part is that we're not usually told it's a stress reaction. I have today I saw Nature's Fair appointments, so those half-hour free consults, and two of the people I talked to were dealing with high cholesterol, and neither wanted to talk about stress. And it's like, usually the cause of high cholesterol. And it also is the core root of metabolic syndrome, which is a very prominent condition in our world because of this chronic stress. So let's look at ways to help support you through chronic stress, because me just telling you stress is bad is like the meanest thing I could possibly do. Stress isn't the best thing to deal with, but when we have some tools to get around it, and I think it's powerful to know that a stressful moment is healing. It's when it's happening for a long period of time that it's a problem. So if we can bring in these supports for these times of long-term stress, then they can help our body kind of heal and adapt and deal with the stress, because our bodies are built for this. Our bodies want to have stress reactions. It's how do we make sure it stays into that healing state instead of the draining state. So we're going to start with 5 foods, then we're going to move into some supplements, and then a few lifestyle things. Does that sound like a good plan? You guys can't hear me, so I can't hear you, so maybe you disagree. So let's start with, this isn't a food, but it's an important way of taking one stress off your body. When you go long periods of time without eating, and I'm talking 6, 7, 8 hours, then our body needs to use cortisol, which is a stress hormone, to raise your blood sugar just to keep you feeling okay. Well, that's unnecessary use of a stress hormone. A low carb diet, like the ketogenic diet, also uses a lot of cortisol. So I just wanted to bring that in as just something easy that you can do. Simply eat every 4 to 5 hours. It doesn't have to be a full meal. It doesn't have to be overly dramatic. You just need to get some food in you so your blood sugar stays a bit steadier. So what this can look like in real life is that you're eating by 10 a.m. It doesn't have to be a full breakfast. If you don't care for breakfast, if breakfast makes you nauseous, just have a piece of fruit sometime before 10 a.m. Have lunch by 1 or 2 p.m. Have an afternoon snack, because most of us have a large window between lunch and dinner. So where can we find a spot to just have a little snack, and then make sure you're eating dinner by 8 p.m. It's okay to have a 12 to 14-hour fast between dinner and breakfast, but especially if you're under chronic stress, you don't want it to be too much longer, because that, again, needs cortisol. And then through the day, it's just eating something to get your body in a nice balance. So let's look at some foods. So the first one I want to talk about is matcha tea. I'm drinking tea right now, but it's not matcha because matcha has caffeine. I don't need caffeine, not at this time of night. So matcha is really, really high in antioxidants, but it's also really high in L-theanine. All green tea is actually high in L-theanine, but matcha tea is particularly high in it. And L-theanine, there's a lot of great supplements in your vitamin section that are high in L-theanine, and for good reason. L-theanine absorbs really fast. It crosses the blood-brain barrier really fast and increases GABA, which is an anti-anxiety, anti-neurotransmitter, and it increases dopamine and serotonin. So it can create a more balanced mood. It can lower anxiety and increase the mood in general. So having some matcha tea, like you could make it as like a morning ritual, and you guys have some great matcha teas in your stores. It could be something that you're just adding to your smoothie in the morning, or you're adding onto oatmeal, or you can make cookies out of matcha tea. If you Google matcha tea cookies, there's a whole bunch of really good recipes. But this is just an easy way to get that hit of L-theanine that can just calm your body happily. Starchy vegetables. These are totally out of style right now. Oh man, Guido. So starchy vegetables are a really great way to lower your cortisol, your stress hormone. Cortisol, when cortisol sits high all day, so cortisol is our main stress hormone. It's pumping all the time that you're up and awake. It gives you the energy to sit up and talk to somebody or stand up. But if it sits too high all day long, then your body will actually kind of gain, usually belly fat is a sign of high cortisol. You tend to feel kind of wired all the time, and you struggle to sleep at night because cortisol is supposed to have this nice rise at noon and fall, and then melatonin follows it. And without the fall of cortisol in the afternoon, then it's hard to get that melatonin rise. The two ways to stop that melatonin fall in the afternoon is by caffeinating, by giving yourself a boost of caffeine, or by either not eating or not having enough carbs in your diet. So bringing in starchy carbs lowers your cortisol, and it gives energy to your body, easy energy, but it's slow burning energy. It's energy that doesn't cause a blood sugar spike. It's amazing. It's nutrient dense, full of B vitamins and minerals. And it also releases serotonin as long as you don't feel guilty while you eat them. It's important to roast a bunch of great starchy vegetables and then enjoy it when you're eating it. And that is where you're going to get that mood boost. Guilt just steals. It just steals it right from us. Egg yolks. So egg yolks are high in choline. Choline is an important brain food. It converts to acetylcholine, and that regulates your mood, it reduces stressful feelings, and lowers anxiety and depression. Egg yolks are also so full of nutrients in general, but choline is this missing brain food that a lot of our bodies really, really need, and it's just not as high in other foods. Fermented foods, I guess we're on number 4, I think. So fermented foods, they're on their own chock full of B vitamins, and your adrenal glands need B vitamins to function properly, and they give you energy as well. But it also feeds your good bacteria, and when we feed your good bacteria, that calms stress, it lowers anxiety, and it boosts mood. There's a major gut-brain connection. I recorded in 2015, I recorded a TEDx talk at TEDx Kelowna on the gut-brain connection if you want to know more about it, but it's absolutely incredible. And the bacteria in our gut literally stimulates the intestinal wall and asks for the neurons that coat our small intestine to make serotonin and dopamine. 90% of our serotonin and 50% of our dopamine is made in our gut, and fermented foods help support that ecosystem, that gut bacteria, to help support mood. So don't forget a serving of fermented foods every day. And the last food is the yummiest, dark chocolate. Yay. So dark chocolate is really high in magnesium, and magnesium is a very important stress mineral. It calms your muscles. It gives your cells energy. It helps you sleep deeper. And dark chocolate is also really high in antioxidants, and on its own reduces the feeling of stress and improves your memory. All from dark chocolate. So one of those ways of solving the lunchtime to dinner big window of eating without causing a hit of cortisol is by having a couple squares of dark chocolate around 4 or 5 p.m. That is the easiest solution you can have, and it's delicious. And if you're not a chocolate fan, there are other options, but man, chocolate's good. So let's take a look at some stress support supplements. We're going to look at the 3 main ones that I use with myself, but also with my clients. And the most important one is magnesium. If there is one mineral I find deficiencies everywhere in, it is magnesium. If I asked 100 people a bunch of magnesium questions, I bet 90 of them would show a magnesium deficiency. It's just so chronic today. Symptoms of low magnesium are chocolate cravings, because dark chocolate is so high in magnesium, tight, tense muscle, like getting knots in your muscles or twitching muscles, or restless legs, struggling to relax, and especially when you're trying to sleep, if your body keeps you up, and phlegm, mucus. Magnesium breaks up phlegm and mucus. So if you find your sinuses are really congested, or your lungs feel really congested, that may be a magnesium deficiency. So magnesium helps calm muscles, it reduces tension, it really helps with sleep, and it's desperately needed by the adrenals. Magnesium helps relax and give you energy. It's this wonderful little combo. Number one nutrient that most of us need. Ashwagandha is another really great one, and it's really popular. So a lot of you, especially those of you in the vitamin section, like you're probably tired of talking about ashwagandha, but I wanted to bring this up because it's it's really effective, and B, when you're talking to customers, a lot of them are starting to get to know this term, and so ashwagandha is something that is becoming more and more commonplace, and that's great. So this is an adaptogenic herb that helps support the adrenals. Adaptogens, they help your body adapt to life. It's like it helps your body change gears. If you do a job where you're doing a bunch of different things and you're having to change gears all the time, bringing in an adaptogen can be really, really helpful. I find, because I tend to have to change gears all day, I find with adaptogens, I'm less tired at the end of the day from all of that. And ashwagandha is one of my favorites. So it supports the adrenals. It mildly stimulates the thyroid. So this is great also for people who are under chronic stress but have some thyroid issues, and it helps with sleep. So you can take it during the day, you can take it in the evening, and it's very, very effective for that whole stress profile, and it's just something that people are becoming more and more aware of. My absolute favorite is the reishi mushroom. So medicinal mushrooms, that whole family, we tend to think about for our immune system. And reishi mushroom is amazing for the immune system. They're immune modulators, so they help calm down the immune system. If it's overactive, it calms it down. If it's underactive, it brings it up. It's just this wonderful balancer. But it's also really great for stress. So it's also adaptogenic and supports the adrenals. It can help with a good sleep. It lowers anxiety. It supports the heart, and it's antimicrobial. It's also very good for autoimmune conditions. There's some really great research on it balancing out the area of the immune system that overreacts with autoimmune. So reishi is one of those like all-encompassing medicinal mushrooms, and is a really great addition, especially coming into this winter, because of that antimicrobial side. And so before we get into questions, I just want to talk about a few lifestyle tools, because lifestyle tools do more than just support you through stress. They actually change, or they have the potential to change how your body reacts to stress. So some of you that some names that I've seen pop up, you guys have known me for most of the 12 years that I've lived out here. And I miss you guys. I miss seeing you all. And so many of you then know that I'm a bit of a high energy person. And in the past, I was a very high energy person. And what I didn't know then was that, so I just felt like I was totally normal and calm. And people would come up to me and say, wow, you're really stressed out today, or you're really like high strung today. And I'm like, no, I'm totally calm. I wasn't calm. The problem is that I was just so used to the feeling of high cortisol and that adrenaline rush that not only did they feel normal, they felt good. And I just didn't know any better. I had no idea that I could feel calm. And then in 2012, I started working at Inspire Health. It's an integrative cancer care center. And it was in my contract. We meditated as a group every morning, and I was there twice a week. And so a meditation was basically forced upon me in a contract. And in just a few months, I got to realize and understand what they were all talking about. And I was able to find a new place of calm. And while I can still like go up into this high strung, high energy place, I don't like being there. And it feels better when I'm more calm. And so what I've done is I've just put together 3 easy lifestyle tools that can help kind of wire your brain into a calm place and to help teach your brain how to get to that calm parasympathetic nervous system, this like gentler place. And none of these, you don't have to be a monk meditating for hours every day for decades to get the results. That each one of these works the first time you try it. So the first one is simple. It's exercise. So exercise is really effective to move you from the stress state called the sympathetic nervous system over to the relaxed state, the parasympathetic nervous system. And the reason why exercise works is that it's literally the flight in fight or flight. What happens today is that we sit on our laptops and we get a stressful email, or we get a stressful phone call, or we're face to face with a stressful customer, and we can't get away from it. And so our body never gets this opportunity to push out those stress hormones. And exercise can do this. It can be going and going for a walk, or going for a hike, or a run, or going to the gym. But it also can be as simple as running up and down the stairs for a few minutes. If you're finding yourself so stressed out, it's hard to think straight, then just finding a set of stairs or running in place or jumping jacks can move those stress hormones out, because your body believes you're running away and you're finally gotten away from it. What research has found is that 150 minutes a week, so that's half an hour every day. My math right? No, half an hour, 5 days a week is all you need to really make a huge difference in your whole body. So it can reduce depression, it can reduce anxiety, it's good for your heart. If it was a drug, it would be the best anti-aging drug that you can get. And so and it doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need to put in a big thing, a big exercise program. Just move, especially when you feel those hormones going. And if your job is really stressful, is there somehow you can move, get some movement, maybe go for a walk or hit a gym on your way home between work and home, so you can get rid of those stress hormones before you get home. The next one is paced breathing. So this is a form of meditation, and meditation is incredibly effective at moving you into that relaxed state and rewiring your brain. The reason why I didn't get into meditation is that those of you who are good at meditation, you already know that you got this. But those of you who aren't meditating probably has the same problem I did, which is it was really hard to actually get through a meditation. And paced breathing is a easy way in. It's just as effective, and quickly moves you into that relaxed state. It even stimulates the vagus nerve, which helps calm your whole body down. And it's very simple. All you do is find a quiet spot. This can be sitting in your car. This can be in your bedroom. It can be anywhere. My car was my main place of meditation for many, many years. You want to just be comfortable. You can be laying down or sitting up, it doesn't matter. And you want to focus on belly breathing. And if you're not used to belly breathing, having your hand on your belly so you can feel it go in and out can help shift from the shoulder breathing to belly breathing. And then this is as simple as it is. You breathe in, count to 5, pause at the top, breathe out, counting to 7. And the wonderful thing is that it gives your brain something to do. And anytime you start thinking of something, you let the thoughts go and you go back to counting. And those moments where you start thinking are actually really powerful, because when you catch your thoughts and you can let them go and you can come back to just counting your breath, you've made a new neural pathway to calm. And if this happens to you 100 times in a session, then you've made 100 new pathways. So having a brain that bounces around can help you rewire faster. the best to do is to do this for 15 minutes. 15 minutes will get you to that calm state. But if that seems overwhelming, just try it for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Give yourself the space to do the amount that you feel comfortable with. I'm a big proponent of do the amount that you can get your head around. And if 15 minutes seems overwhelming, then just say 1 minute. I can't talk myself out of 1 minute, so let's set a timer and do this. And so that can be really helpful. And it's been clinically proven to lower blood pressure because it calms your body down. And the last one is Qigong and Tai Chi. So if you really struggle to sit still, and I'm totally been there, I meditated sitting for 3 or 4 years, and then I just couldn't sit still anymore and moved to a moving meditation. So Qigong and Tai Chi are two traditional forms of moving meditation. You're literally moving the energy in your whole body. It's still incredibly calming. It's still moving you to that relaxed state, but you're getting to move your body too. And so it allows you to be who you are and embrace your body's feeling better with movement than it does sitting. And so really don't try to be somebody you're not. Let your body be how it is, and use whatever method. All 3 of these methods do the same thing at calming your body down. The pace breathing, meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi also does that rewiring aspect. But just find what works for you, find the amount of time that works for you, and try it out and see how it feels. So we're going to move into questions in about 2 seconds. I just want to wrap things up. So overall, just encourage you to be aware of your day-to-day stress level. Don't be like old me, be like new me, where I didn't know I was stressed out all the time. Instead, just simply being aware, even if you can't do anything about it, just noticing, oh yeah, I feel those stress hormones. I'm feeling stressed today. That awareness is incredibly powerful. Bring in some stress busting foods like chocolate, or make a big roast of root vegetables. I did that last night. It was so delicious. Support your body with some stress support supplements that can get you through these stressful times. They can help you recover from these stressful times. And don't forget to move, to breathe, to find some sort of relaxation at some point in your week, just to help your body find every moment it can to relax. Because your body in every single moment, your body will find an opportunity to help you recover. And so if you are sitting quietly for 1 minute, you're getting a 1 minute of recovery. So celebrate these even small moments, because they make a huge, huge difference. You don't have to be sitting relaxed for hours a day to get these benefits. It can happen in these small little moments whenever you can find them. So I'd love to open up the floor for questions. If you want more information about me, that's my website, lisakilgour.com, and you can learn more about my book on that as well. But if you have any questions or comments, or you simply you don't want to ask in front of everybody, you can send them to me directly at lisakilgour.com. And Haley's back, so let's get some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I think that there's so many great takeaways from all of the great examples that you provided. And it's funny because it's something that we're surrounded by constantly, being in the workplace that we are in, but you kind of can't see the forest through the trees sometimes.
Yeah, and you guys are also bearing the brunt of the stress of everybody else coming into the stores. I haven't been in the stores since the day before the first lockdown in March. And I remember, I have a strong memory of that day, because there's a lot of stress in the store. And so just be aware that you guys are dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. And you're totally the angels of the group, because we need the service that you guys are providing, but we need to take care of you. I want to come and give all of you a hug and make you friends.
Yeah. So thank you for those that are still here. And we've got a few questions. In regards to the supplement products that you were suggesting, are they something that we should be incorporating into our routines and taking daily? Or is it more of, say, for the adaptogenic benefits of ashwagandha, something that we can take in the moment and see the results in quickly?
Oh, that's a great question. So most of us need magnesium on a semi-regular basis. I've been trying to get off magnesium for 5 years, and every time I do, I get symptoms of low magnesium. So if you, depending on what your life and lifestyle is, your mineral absorption, magnesium is safe to take long-term, and many of us do need it, not everybody. Ashwagandha is safe to take long-term as well, but it also doesn't need to be taken long-term. Generally with herbs, I usually give it like a 3-month window just to make sure that you're giving your body a break as well. Taking ashwagandha in something like a tincture will give you the results really fast. You'll get results within a day or two, and sometimes a little bit faster even. But capsules, if you're doing like a powdered capsule, give yourself a week or two to see a difference. Reishi mushroom is also something that you can take in for the long term as well. And with the same thing, if there's liquid extracts, those work faster. Capsules work a little slower, but you can, I've noticed differences with reishi just within a few days to a week. And that one's very safe to take long-term. It's a food. And so there's no harm in taking that one long-term.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great piece of information. In the food category, is there somewhere else that we can get the choline other than eggs?
It's a really good question. Probably. So lecithin is a source of phosphatidylcholine, which also turns into acetylcholine. So you can get that as like soy lecithin or sunflower lecithin.
Oh, okay. I was like, English, please.
Oh, sorry. Lecithin isn't really like a whole food. It's in a lot of supplements. You can actually buy it as a powder and add it to smoothies, and it's actually a really great source of choline. It helped my brain turn back on when it was really weak. But honestly, I can't think of any other choline off the top of my head, though I'm sure there's other ones. If any, because I know there's some really amazing people on this. If any of you
knowledgeable,
if you're like, Lisa, what about blood? Just type it in. We'll add it.
That's great. In more of the lifestyle category and sleep hygiene, all that fun stuff. We have a question around falling asleep, no problem, easy to do, but then tend to wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. Do you have any advice for that?
That's a really, really common problem. So the first question, the first thing is sometimes that can be cortisol. So you wake up and then cortisol starts pumping. And some ways to calm that down, if it's your brain that's running, that's usually a cortisol thing. Passion flower or kava kava are two really great tools to calm your brain down and calm your nerves down. Passion flower is the one I've used myself a lot. I use it all day long to calm me down, but I also use it at night, and it's fantastic to stop the brain spin. Kava kava is also it just calms your nerves and can keep your body from getting that cortisol hit. If instead, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're more restless, that's magnesium. And so taking magnesium at dinner and even taking some at breakfast, like doubling your dose for a little while, can help your body sit deeper in sleep. And so that way, like we naturally go up and down all night. You're hitting a high point, but waking up. And so when you have magnesium, you can just sit a little deeper so that therefore you don't wake up in that lighter part of sleep. So it all depends. If it's body magnesium, if it's mind, passion flower, or kava kava can be really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. Where can people find your book?
Oh, yes. So it should be in stores sooner or later. Haley and I are working on a virtual book launch because we can't do anything in stores. But it is available at Chapters, in Mosaic, in Kelowna, on Amazon. And I also have bonuses for anybody who buys my book. If you go on to undieting.ca, you can put in your receipt number, and I have a digital course that goes along with it. And you get a copy of the chapter all about cravings sent to you right away. So if you've ordered it online, you don't have to wait for it. You can just get that.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I think we're booked for February for the book launch, so everybody can stay tuned for that. A a few more questions around food. What would you consider to be the healthiest starchy veg?
They're all really good. There isn't a better or worse one. So like potatoes have gotten a bad rap over the years, but they're actually really high in potassium and vitamin C. There isn't a bad starchy vegetable. It all depends on what you like and what your body likes, because I could name a specific benefit of every single starchy vegetable. Like beets are really good for iron absorption in your liver, and carrots are full of beta carotene that turns into vitamin A, and sweet potatoes are also full of beta carotene, and potatoes are full of potassium and vitamin C. Like they're all really good for you. So the key is eat them and enjoy them.
Don't be afraid of them.
Don't be afraid of them. Exactly.
Yeah. If it's completely impossible to have your dinner by 9, would it be better to have like a larger midday snack around 4 and then skip dinner, have an earlier breakfast?
Yeah. So like, cause everybody's schedule is a little different. And if you're working until 9, it's hard on your body to then sit down to a big meal. So putting more food, and I work with a bunch of people that work even till 11 or 12. And so everything gets thrown off. So first of all, make lunch a bigger meal. So like make lunch your dinner, if you can, if that works in your schedule. And then, around 4 or 5, have a large snack. And then if you're hungry when you get home, have a snack. If you can have one even at 7 instead, that would be better. But what you don't want to be doing at 10 p.m. is sitting down to a big meal. But if you haven't eaten enough through the day, you're going to want to sit down to a big meal because you're starving. And so finding a balance where all you need is a little snack when you get home, that would be best for your sleep. You don't want to be starving, but at the same time, you don't want to be
something.
It's hard. Yeah, it's really hard on your system.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, because everybody's got different things on the go and different schedules. In the supplements category, is there a better time of the day for your body to absorb when you're taking them? So is it in the morning or in the evening, with food, without food, that kind of thing?
A great question. So generally, things that come from food are best absorbed with food. So minerals like magnesium and the mushrooms, those are generally better with food, though the mushrooms can go either way. Herbs are usually better on an empty stomach, but really what's best is what works for you in your life. And magnesium in particular, we tend to think about taking it in the evening. What's actually better is just a bit earlier at dinner, so you can actually fully digest it and get it in your system. But I'll do magnesium both with breakfast and dinner, so that way my body can get that, like a big dose of it without taking a lot all at once.
Okay. And what about topical magnesium, like magnesium oils or magnesium in the bath? Does that have a similar effect, or is it totally different?
Well, there's no clinical proof of how much we actually absorb of the magnesium through our skin. But what I can say for sure is that it helps relax your muscles. So like putting topical magnesium on a tight muscle is a really great way to quickly relax it. Does that turn into like systemic magnesium? There's no proof. I've yet to see if there exists. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
But like an Epsom salt bath and topical magnesium are really, really helpful to kind of relax the body in the moment. I have topical magnesium all over my house because it just works so well when my neck is stiff.
Yeah. And have you heard with that, if someone has a magnesium deficiency, that topical magnesium will cause like a reaction, whether it makes it feel really itchy or something like that?
I haven't heard that. Some of the vitamin staff might be better at answering that one. But yes, I haven't heard that before. But generally, like when there's a magnesium deficiency and you use it, like you can feel it right away. Like the first time I had a big magnesium deficiency, the first time I used it, and I literally felt my shoulders drop like inches. It was just like, whoa, I didn't know they were that tight.
Interesting. Okay. That looks like we've covered the questions so far in the chat. I'll have a couple more minutes just if anyone's currently typing a question, so we don't abruptly cut them off. But so far, great questions, everyone. Thank you so much for asking what's on your mind. And if you have anything else, please share it now. And then if not, we'll wrap things up here momentarily.
And thank you all for coming. I really appreciate you all coming and sticking around and sharing your really great questions. Like, it's just so nice to spend time with you guys again. I really miss being in the stores.
It's nice to get together with knowing that everybody's kind of going through the same thing and being through it together. And yeah, we miss you too, Lisa.
Oh,
yeah, everybody's voicing that in the chat. There was just a last question here. Can you have too much matcha?
Matcha is caffeinated, so you definitely can have too much. I wouldn't do more than 2 a day without knowing for sure that your body can handle it. Like, people will have 2 pots of coffee a day, and this is a lot less caffeine, but you don't want to be overstimulating your system. So start with 1 or 2 servings, see how that feels. Could go to 3 if you have to, but it would be better to look at other more gentle ways of energy boosting if you do need it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Lots of thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Great to see everybody that's been here and attended. And like I said before, we'll share the recording and put it to the internal team's Facebook page and communicate it out so that others can get this great information. I also wanted to mention that we did have 2 wellness talks from vendors this week about stress management. Monday was from Natural Factors, and last night was from Host Defense. And Jerry Angelini talked about the mushrooms and all of that information. So I'm going to link to our YouTube page because those are there recorded and available. You can watch them on your own time whenever you like.
And man, is Jerry brilliant.
Such a smart guy. Yeah. Very, very, very smart. Okay, Lisa, well, enjoy the rest of your tea. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, you too. And thank you all for coming.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night.